Wake up in the morning, I just gotta get it. Wake up in the morning, I just gotta get it.
All right, welcome everyone to the Schoology Learning Podcast. Thanks for joining us. This is the podcast where we talk about some things we're hearing out in the world about education, as well as some tips and tricks about our favorite platform, which is, of course, Schoology. My name is Kellie Eady, and I'm joined by my colleague, Ericka Waterman.
Hey, Kellie. I'm so excited for us to take this time. I just remember how fun it was when I was teaching to take the lunchtime or, any little break that we had and just kind of talk with colleagues. So hopefully everyone can join us and just get a little chit chat about education and Schoology while they're at it.
Yeah, so let's get started.
Kellie, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
I am doing just fantastic. I've been prepping for our customer feedback sessions.
Yep.
I think you've attended one of those, haven't you?
Yeah,
To kind of hear how it goes.
They're great. People love those.
Yeah, it has. Well, and it's been super helpful for my team and I, just so everybody knows who's listening. So our customer feedback sessions, I basically started it. And last year we were doing every other month. It kind of, we've, talked internally. We're only doing it once a quarter now, but I think that's good because then our feedback can be like really focused. But we basically have topics every quarter that we just ask for people to join and chime in on. We want to hear what's going well, what's not going well, and, things that they're liking or, things that they'd like to, us to think about upcoming features that we're developing. So those customer feedback sessions have just been a really great way to kind of keep a pulse on what the customer base is thinking about Schoology. So pretty excited about continuing to roll that. Our first one's going to be in March. That is on the events page of our community. So you can go there and register for that. You'll get a reminder. And you can always listen to the recording afterwards if you can't attend live, which is always great. But today we get Dani Patterson back from our customer marketing team. Dani, welcome.
Hey, I'm so excited to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Dani joined us, gosh, Kellie, it's been a couple episodes ago, right? Our champions program.
Yeah.
Love our champions. And so Dani asked, hey, can I bring questions from our champions? And we love that.
Yeah.
So today is it's kind of a big Q&A.
Yeah.
We're going to see what happens.
Yes, we had a lot submit some questions, and after going through them, I picked out 3 that I think will kind of get some good conversations. Definitely want to do this again to allow more people to share some questions that they might have. And then after these 3, I want to do like a rapid fire hot seat questions to kind of get to know you guys as people. Not that, I know you're real people, but people listening may wonder. So I have some really fun hot seat questions for you as well.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to just give a shout out to Champions. Thank you for submitting your questions for Kellie and Ericka today. And we'll go ahead and get started. And we'll start with the first question, and I'm going to read it. It is an anonymous submission. So know that if you submit, you can submit anonymously, or you can put your name and location. But this is an anonymous question for Ericka. Do you think assessments are ever going to reach parity with the functions in test quizzes? Or do you think Schoology basically given up on trying to make the functionality of the latter match that of the former? Go.
Coming out of the gate, Dani.
Yes, we're coming in hot.
No kidding. No, I am actually glad that this question got asked. So thank you to Anonymous for asking it, because I do get this. I do get this question quite a bit. And I know, Kellie, you and I try to attend a lot of customer user groups as well. So those states that organize those user groups, this is a very common topic. So appropriate. Good call on picking this one, Dani.
Yes.
So I joined Schoology. It's been 2 years. Crazy to think about because it feels like yesterday. But 2 years ago, and it took a while for me to fully understand the whole concept of like test quiz versus assessment and like what the history was with that and like where we were all headed. And there was another type of assessment product that had been thrown in there for a hot minute. And so it was just like, it took me a while to really understand the breadth of it. And Kellie, you probably have more of the history because, you were around Schoology back when this transition all happened, right?
I was actually there before they even designed course assessments. So
Oh,
old school test quiz was all we had as an option. But I do
okay.
know, originally, the Schoology product team was saying that course assessments would replace test quiz. And so there's always been this like specter out in the community of like, what is this
What's
going
happening?
away? Is it not going away? Like,
What are
so
we doing here?
what are we doing? Yeah,
Um,
totally.
So here's what I can tell you. I'm not taking anything away without plenty of warning. I've definitely learned my lesson with that. So like, test quiz, we have no shutdown date at this point. But I also know that like while test quiz has some really great functionality, course assessments really added some functionality, but yet it didn't have some of the crucial functionality that test quiz had. And there was some really good functionality added by this, other piece that was around for a little bit. It was like nothing was really hitting the mark. So I'm very excited to let you all know that we are behind the scenes, behind the wizard's curtain, coming up with the final assessment solution. And it's going to be all of the functionality of test quiz and all the functionality of course assessment with all the functionality that we see in our ideas portal. We have a lot of enhancement requests in our ideas portal around assessments. And so we're really trying to look at how can we build something that handles all of it. And we've made a lot of progress, actually. It's kind of too bad because I can't really sing the praises of this because it's just not ready for prime time yet. But I will tell everyone that the other big important piece of this, and the reason why I'm taking it really slow and I'm not showing anybody anything yet, is we do have to worry about how do we translate this content into what is the go forward path. And so I don't want anybody to have to redo things or lose out on things. And so we're really trying to take a look at how do we best translate this content or migrate this content while also giving like the best of the best when it comes to the assessment platform. So more to come here, lots of good stuff happening with the assessment piece. It's just not, we're not at a point where I can do a lot of specifics, just know it's a very heavy focus of mine because I do know how important it is to get that parity there.
I do want to add something really quickly though. So for some folks who joined us maybe more recently as a Schoology user, you may not
Oh,
even see
yeah.
test quiz. So if
Didn't
you
even think
don't
about
know what
that.
we're talking about, it's because we actually stopped offering test quiz as an option just to make people like get used to using course assessments. So don't worry if you're like, wait, what is this test quiz? Like,
Oh, good
don't
call,
worry.
Kellie.
Yeah. This is for kind of our legacy users who have been with us for a while, have multiple options for assessments, and it gets confusing. So really happy
Yep.
to hear that we're on a path, Ericka, to consolidate and make things more
Yeah.
functional and more streamlined.
And I promise, number one, you will be able to add an item both to a test and an item bank because that is like by
Yes.
The
far
number one,
the
right?
number
Yes.
one thing.
Yeah.
On it. We are on it.
On it.
I promise it's going to be worth the wait for sure.
All right, are we ready for our second question?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This question is coming from Cam Hill from Lee Summit's R7 School District. And the question is, our instructional technology team, this is kind of long, Kellie. Let me start over again. Our
Okay.
instructional technology team is looking for the best way to reach the masses in terms of Schoology updates and information for all of our staff in the district. In your amazing minds, I added the amazing, what would be the best way to share our Schoology and EdTech tool updates through our Schoology platform that will be the most effective?
All right. So hello, Lee Summit. I've known folks from there for a while. Hi, Cam. Thanks for the question. Also say hello to John Courtney for me. So because I know Lee Summit, I know that they are already using Schoology for things like professional learning. And I believe they've got a group that they're using also for everyone that's, in Schoology groups. So, if you don't have either of those two things, my first recommendation would be to create a group. And I would say keep it different. I would say if you have a course and a group, choose which one makes the most sense. I think the groups functionality makes the most sense for something like this, to be honest, because it allows for more dialogue and questions and whatever, where in a course, you know, you could post it there for updates, but you might lose a little bit. I think maybe in other things that might be happening with professional learning. I think one of the best ways to also get the word out, besides, putting something inside a Schoology group, for example, as an update, would be making sure that you're building in even like mini videos you could add to that update. So maybe you have like a little quick, maybe it's like a 2-minute PD tech, tech tip just out or whatever, and add some actual multimedia to the update that can just, bring it to life a little bit. And then also see if you can have your tech coaches or whoever is on the ground at the building level, make sure they're modeling it the next time they get in front of people. To, just kind of, you may have seen this. One of my favorite quotations from George Bernard Shaw is this quotation, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's something like, the biggest problem with communication is the assumption that it has occurred. And so, we have to remember that just because we had said something once doesn't mean it made it to the audience's brain. So, sometimes you've got to put this in multiple formats. And I would say the more you can do that, the better.
I really like that. That's a lot of good ideas, Kelly. I would also say that, we are looking as a product at how do we release updates and like notify you of them and build excitement around them that are also appropriate for when things are happening. So like, how do we get people really excited about some changes that have happened that impact you the most when you're setting up courses, right? So like that back to school timeframe or second semester timeframe versus, things that may help district admin, but putting that more in the summer where that's, your time to really focus on that. And, when your teachers are on break. So we're also trying to think of like, how can we best help get that information out so that it sticks? Cause it's, to your point, people only, if they don't actually listen or if they're not actually using it or they didn't actually try it, they're going to forget that they heard it. So.
Right.
Agreed.
Good call.
I have
Thanks.
a quick question for you guys. Do you remember when you first started teaching? I don't know if it was just me, but you got a binder when you first started at the school district, at the campus. They welcomed you with the binder, and whenever pages needed to be updated, they would put the pages in your mailbox so you can replace the binder. I was so excited to get my school off of the binder and onto Schoology, so I do agree. Groups, great suggestion, but I'm glad I'm not the only one that schools did that. All right, let's move into our third question. This comes from Roy Nelson Puens from the American School of Tegucigalpa, and his question is, how can he successfully sync Schoology and the PowerTeacher Pro gradebook? And I think the perfect person to answer this question is Ericka. Ericka, you want to help Roy out?
Yeah, I mean, just don't make mistakes, man, and you'll be fine. No, I'm just teasing. Yeah, so we actually have taken a really hard look at that because what we found out is that districts who struggle with our sync between Schoology and the PowerTeacher Pro part of our SIS, we found that the main problem all comes down to how somebody set things up, either how they set it up in Schoology or how they set it up in the SIS. And we're like, wait a minute, we're asking people to set things up in two different systems, but if they don't set it up exactly correct, all of a sudden things don't look like they're working, they have problems. And we're like, why are we doing this? So we are actually 2026 into 2027 is my mission here of how do I make things, you only do them once. So for example, our wonderful SIS counterparts are developing a shared service for grade setup. So if you have Schoology and PowerTeacher Pro, we are hoping by the start of 26, 27, so it's a stretch goal for us, that you will set up all of your grade setup work. So your categories, your rounding, your points versus percentages, all of that will happen in this shared service that both the SIS and Schoology will use. So if you change it in Schoology, it changes in the SIS. If you change it in the SIS, it changes in Schoology. So there is no more having to do the same thing in both places. So I think that's going to go a long way. There's also going to be more to come. We're doing some other things. Like I said, I know at least for me, it's been very hard to not be able to solve a lot of these problems very quickly for people. But what I've learned is if I take a step back and we look at what really is causing it and come up with a really like pervasive solution, like a really big one, it does take a bit more work on the development side, and there's not as much flashy stuff to give out to customers, but we're going to deliver something really quality. So looking forward to what the teams are doing. I think you're going to be really, really pleased with where we're headed with the sync between Schoology and PowerTeacher Pro. I'm
And
really
I
glad
feel
the
like
question got
I
asked.
feel like I have to say though, because the district I came from was one of the first ones to use the PowerSchool API for syncing. Like it was almost like a test case, and it has come so far with enhancements and better messaging and better notifications. I feel like it continues to get stronger, but I don't think you can get any stronger than having that as a shared service where you're not doing it twice. So, that's great news.
Yeah, and it's a good point, Kelly. Like we do have, I mean, it works today, right? It is there, it works today. It just you have to be really diligent about what you're putting in there. And we'd like to kind of stop that from being part of the equation.
Yeah.
And I think it also is because it happens one time a year. Like you do it in August, July when you're doing a million things, and then you set it and you forget it, and then you come back around and it's like, wait, I did this time last year. How am I supposed to remember to do it now? So first of all, I think I hear people cheering from my house, listening to this podcast. So I think it's worked out well because not only did some of our top questions get answered, people get to kind of hear about what's coming and get excited about it. Okay, are you guys ready for some hot seat questions now?
Yeah,
I mean, those
Those were already hot. Okay, these
I
might
felt
be
like I was in the hot
warm
seat.
seat questions. Okay, let's go in ABC order. So we'll start with like Ericka and then we'll go to Kellie. So, all right, first question, coffee or tea? And you only answer one word. You don't elaborate. I know that's hard. That would be hard for me too. So Ericka, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Kellie?
both.
Ooh, okay. Ericka, early bird or night owl?
Night owl?
Kellie?
Early bird now.
So pretty much both. No, I'm just kidding. Ericka, beach or mountains? These are hard.
They are. I'm going to go mountains.
Okay,
I'm gonna
Kellie.
go beach.
I was like, you guys are gonna swap. Okay, what's one classroom supply you cannot live without? Ericka.
Oh, Post-it notes.
Oh, yes, agree. Kellie?
Colored dry erase markers.
Ooh, I love dry erase markers. Okay, so this might already answer the next question, but I'm still gonna ask it because now I have to get you to think, Ericka. Sticky notes or markers? Especially those felt tip markers.
Sticky notes.
Okay,
I'm going sticky notes also.
cool. What's one Schoology feature that you're always showing off? Ericka.
Oh, that is a good question. I'm having the hardest time not saying more words. Let's go with, I think recently it's been the student assignment dashboard option.
Kellie, you probably get to show off a little bit more.
I love course assessments. I think they're so flexible.
So much you can do with them. See, sorry, this is hard to say one word.
It was. Sorry, we did really well up until that one.
Yeah.
Until that.
Podcast speed, 1 minute or 1.5? Was that seconds? 1 or 1.5? Speed.
Oh, it depends on who's talking.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same with audio.
One. I'm going to go one. I usually
Okay.
want to hear tone.
Do you speed it up, Kelly, or do you leave it at its speed?
Leave it as is. One.
Okay. Ericka, are you a texter or are you a phone call person?
Oh, text.
What about you, Kelly?
Text.
Okay. This one might have a little bit more words, but it's okay. Ericka, what's the best advice you ever got as an educator?
Ooh.
Get ready, Kelly. I'm coming to you next.
No.
I think it was that it wasn't about me. Meaning
Ooh.
like I had to remember when kids were acting out or when kids, like that there's other things, and not to take it personally, but rather work to be the professional and find a way around it. Does that make sense? I hope I explained that well.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good one. Kelly?
Mine was actually befriend and make yourself beloved to the secretary, office manager, and the custodian.
And IT. Don't forget them.
Now IT. When I was
Now
given that
IT,
information,
but-
it was pre-IT, unless you were counting.
You
like
were the
talk,
IT.
But
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the end of the
I like that
hot
one.
seat. And again, just want to thank you guys for letting me come and bring some questions. Very hot
super
seat
fun,
questions.
Dani.
Yes. We'll
Yeah.
have to do this again soon. Appreciate it.
yeah, thanks, Dani. Well, thanks for joining this episode of the Schoology Learning Podcast. Hope to see you next time where we'll talk about some more topics of interest and, of course, talking about our favorite platform, Schoology.
And in the meantime, if you click on the user toolbox at the bottom of the Schoology page, there are lots of resources out there, including other episodes of this podcast to listen to. Until next time.
And hope to see you next time. Thanks all.